to this handsome Hunka Hunka.
Howdy, boys and girls, and welcome to this first episode of Hunka Hunka News. My name is Michael Snail II.
I am Bruce Cruz.
A great informative person I've known. We want to shout out first to GeekVerse. They're giving us a chance on this pilot to talk about a many variety of things, but thank them, support us. You're probably asking...
They're a pretty good podcast, we'll give them that.
They are, but I think they have some flaws,
Oh, without a doubt.
And that's what this...
I think they give themselves too much credit.
Yeah, and that's what this show is today. We are going to give another look at fanboyism and fangirlism and just comics in the world in general. Because, we're friends with the GeekVerse people. We love them. I'm related to one of them.
Yeah.
But, I feel they've always had this very Marvel slant. I think you would agree.
Well, Travis of the GeekVerse podcast has been called out as a Marvel dick sucker since day one. And are they wrong? Are those haters wrong?
No,
I don't think so.
I've grown up with the man, and I would say he sucks a lot of Marvel dick. And the thing is, do you tend to agree that most critics are paid off by Disney?
Oh, of course.
And I don't think GeekVerse
Have you seen Disney has their hands in everything? They have all the money in the world. They can afford to do that.
And I think they do have their hands in the GeekVerse, so... That's what we want to do.
JJ, he has some connections, and obviously he's somewhere doing...
Him and
no
Travis,
one really knows what his role is in the Geekverse, but he's clearly there.
Him and Travis gone on multiple dinners. It's very biased. They say, hey, Travis, you shouldn't be reviewing Star Wars movies, especially Force Awakens, like your friends. Doesn't matter. Same thing as Disney. We've never seen the checks, but we think it's there. So
it's definitely under the table.
We are not paid by anybody. We're just fans, like each and every one of you. And we're going to ask a question, who watches the GeekVerse? That's what we are. We watch GeekVerse, and we're going to give a different slant. So I thank them, they're giving us a chance, but we're going to talk about a variety of topics. Each show...
They're kind of like our foundation, our stepping stone, but we're definitely going to,
outgrow them.
Leave them in the dust.
Once people see this show and they see the truth of the news out there, they're going to want to stay tuned to us, and the viewers over there will decline. But we're welcome to have them on if they want to guest any time,
Right.
So today, opening credits, top story... Wonder Woman is getting rave reviews.
This is huge news.
Out of the window, a couple weeks ago, they had a screening, and I have a source from ZackSnyderIsGod.com.
Yeah.
A source that says a man that lives outside the theater has spoken to multiple. He says
he's not a homeless man. That's one distinction to make. He just really, really loves movies, and he found that this is the best way to get good information.
You know those ones, like those playset houses that they sell like a Toys R Us?
Yes.
That's not a playset to him. That's his home.
Right.
And it's not because he's on hard times. He just wants to save on money.
He's a humble man.
Yeah, he wants to save on money. He gets to see so many movies. But he didn't get into this screening, unfortunately. But he said he talked to over 75% of the people at the theater, and they all gave it rave reviews. What are you thinking about this? Wonder Woman getting rave reviews off the bat. I think this is great signs for the future.
Well, this guy has a very good track record. I don't know if you've seen his website, but every movie he has some opinion out there, even if it's a movie no one's ever heard of, or if it's BVS, the biggest movie of the year. So this guy is incredibly reliable. I have sent him emails back and forth. He's doesn't really reply that much because he doesn't have a solid internet connection. As you can imagine.
It's tough to get a hold of him. One day we want to get him on the show. It's tough.
That's
ZackSnyderIsGod.com. Make sure you check it out.
What do you think?
Well, I think you look at his past track record. He said BVS, glowing reviews. Suicide Squad, glowing reviews. Critics, we already went over that. I think there's a little, chicanery going on there.
We just talked about people being paid off. That's everywhere.
Exactly. But he was right with BVS. He's extremely right with Suicide Squad. That gave us the name Hunka Hunka News. That's a shot at the haters. That's a shot at even GeekVerse. They have a parody shirt. It's no parody shirt to me. That's the greatest Joker of all time right there in Jared Leto. So you look at his track record.
Yeah, well, let's, quickly, Jared Leto, so many people shit on him, but think about all the things he innovated for that character. He did things that the comics have never even seen before.
Forehead tattoos. Grills.
Yes, grills.
So many great things.
Just everything.
Huge list of things. And people talk about La La Land not getting Best Picture for Oscar. Suicide Squad, BVS.
Robbed.
Jared Leto, robbed. So you look at his track record with all his reviews saying BVS was going to be great. True.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad is going to be great. True. So I have to believe him with Wonder Woman. Now, some people might say, this is just a guy that lives on the street. This is we don't know this guy. But do you think that takes away from his credibility of a movie critic or just a movie fan out there?
Of course not. You have to look at this guy, and clearly he knows what's up when it comes to DC. You know, talking about BVS and Suicide Squad, and even look at the name of his website, Zack Snyder's God. This guy clearly knows what he's talking about when it comes to DC in a very objective sort of sense. Right?
So I can tell you're excited for Wonder Woman.
Oh, of course. I think that could be my favorite movie of the last decade.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be easily the best movie of the year. Yeah. Might be best movie of the decade. Might be the best movie that just ever existed. Plain out flat existed.
Honestly, I like after Wonder Woman come out, they might not need to make movies anymore.
No, because
that could end movies as we know it.
I think that that movie could just stay in the theater for like the next 50 years because people will continually keep going to see it and love it. I have no problem. So, do you think now that the critics are going to give this a positive review to try to maybe get us off the scent of like us last year? It was
I have a conspiracy theory here. So, we've talked about the controversial, components of the last DC movies. I have a conspiracy theory that critics know about ZackSnyder'sGod.com. They frequent this website. They see what this guy says, and just to spite him, maybe they're paid off by Marvel dick suckers of GeekVerse. Who knows? I think they go against the grain just to mess with that guy, and I think it's devastating. The poor guy has dedicated his whole life to this trade.
And then I think you're right. And then with Justice League, they're gonna swing right back around and hit it and hit it and hit it.
Just hit it.
And just hit it. And it's gonna be so.
Let's hit it 2 or 3 times. Just hit it.
BVS is a 27%. I could see Justice League being a 17% just to spite him. Just for some reason, because we all know he's the second coming of Jesus. It's been a proven fact. ZackSnyderDog.com. Go check it out. They have their facts. But I think I agree with you that Wonder Woman's going to get some good reviews just to be like, oh yeah, maybe we're, liking these DC films. And then everyone's going to be happy. We're going to have some solidarity like we should in the world right now. And then Justice League's going to come out and they're going to hit it. So,
of course.
Very unfortunate. You have anything else to say on Wonder Woman?
I just have to say that I cannot wait for this movie. Like I said, it could be the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life. And I mean that truthfully.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So we're going to keep you updated on that story as time goes on. More trailers going to come out, interviews and whatnot. Can't wait to cover that. Segment number 2, story number 2, it's time to get your thinking caps on.
Yeah.
Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok. Why it's gonna suck. Now, you want to give me a rundown of just what you think of Thor overall, and then we'll get into the huge reason why this movie's gonna bomb and suck.
Well, you could, parallel a lot of Wonder Woman to Thor in the themes it tells, but Thor, man, I don't know what it is about Marvel, but why are these movies just so damn boring? The characters suck. Yeah. The pacing is awful.
Loki,
the action
overrated.
is terrible. Yeah, Loki might be the worst villain. We saw
That's not even his real hair.
Kong recently, Tom Hiddleston, much better in that movie than any of these Avengers, Thor, bullshit. I'll say bullshit, yeah.
100%. I don't know why he has, enough people haven't talked about him getting an Oscar nomination for Kong Skull Island. He carries that movie. People went to see Kong, they left talking about Tom Hiddleston,
Yeah, the scene with the sword just totally innovative.
His hair is fake in the Thor movies, just let you know.
What is that all about, So, I think the reason people think that this Thor is going to turn it around is because it's not just Thor, it's not just Loki. They're bringing in the big green guy, whatever his name is, and then... who else? Some guy, he's like some spiritual guy, like chakras.
Mr. Strange.
Mr. Strange, yeah.
Which was an alright movie. It was alright. It wasn't terrible, but it
was alright.
I've seen much better.
I have. I've seen, and I haven't really seen much worse, to be honest with you. I'll say it. And so I think that's why, those Marvel people think that, this is the one that's going to turn all those DC lovers around. But to me, that's just a fake out. And plus, I think there's, something big you wanted to bring up.
Well, I think the biggest thing, I'll go a little bit. I agree. I think the Thor movies are a little boring. I don't think they're totally awful. There's great action scenes. I love action scenes. I love them so much. So, some good action scenes.
He's a big action lover, guys.
Big action lover. So, I like them a bit more than you. But the thing is, and many people have said this too, they released all these photos, okay, Loki has a fake hair, but he's looking cool. Their villain. They got a female villain. She's looking alright. She does look a little scary. Yeah. Black eyeshadow can make people scary. Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah, look at Enchantress, look at Joker, look at Doomsday, and Jesse Eisenberg. Scariest thing I've ever seen.
Very, very scary. Yeah.
So, scary villain, but the thing that is the sign, they probably shouldn't even show this in the trailer. Some people say, they shouldn't have showed so much BVS trailer. They showed this in a photo. Thor has cut his hair. Yeah. What is this? I don't care what people say if it's been in comic books before. He cut his hair. Why? You're in agreement with me that now this is just a pure sign that this is going to be a big bomb. Maybe not money because Marvel has its drunken
But here's the thing.
fanboys.
I don't have any scientific evidence of this. I have no proof, but there is a direct correlation between movie characters in sequels cutting their hair and the movie quality dipping drastically. You know, like I said, I don't have any sort of science behind that.
But I know it's true.
It's true. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, that's just following into the footsteps that others have fallen in before, and it leads to failure about most of the time. At least 60% of the time.
Well, the thing is, for me, like I said, I kind of like some of the Thor movies, but the thing is that was the best part was his hair. You know, the way...
Name one god you've seen that has short hair.
Not any good ones.
No.
Hercules back in the day had some weird, like, kind of short, long hair. Didn't work out.
No.
That movie sucks. So, his hair, you know, when I talk about those action scenes, his hair was flowing. It was off the sides. It was in the front. You got to see it really move, you know, and I think that was...
You could tell that the hair movement was the center of the camera. Right?
And it really was the most important thing about his character, you know, was that hair.
There's not much else there.
No, there's not much else there. There's a few little
More
things,
personality than the character
they're
himself.
not well developed. You know, that's where I give Doctor Strange a little credit of, like, you know, his cape is a little developed. That's how I feel like they did do with his hair.
They compensated for the lack of hair with cape. It's obvious.
Where in the Thor movies, I feel they gave that character to his hair, and I was really always focused. I was like, what is his hair going through in Thor 1, Thor 2, Avengers 2, you know, I was on that journey, and they just cut it. I think this is a pure sign that...
Where can the story go at that point?
No, like, this has to be the last one.
All the depth is gone. You know?
Because I have no interest in seeing him grow his hair back. I just want his hair to stick. If anything, I wanted to see it get longer.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him grow a beard.
I wanted to see him grow hair out of places I've never seen hair grow out.
I want him to grow hair out of places that I didn't even know places existed on the body.
Exactly, yeah.
So
maybe out of his hammer, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I think they're missing a big opportunity.
Of course.
I think cutting his hair, I think there's some people that are outraged by this, and I say be outraged, because this is a spit in the face to us fans. This is a spit in the face to the character. This is a spit in the face to the movie. Don't go see this movie, you know, or see it and then tell people not to see it because tell them how bad it was, you know, because you want to be able to see...
Regardless of whether it was actually good or not, just say it anyway. It makes it easier.
They'll know, because they'll see him with his short hair, you know. You want to at least still see a movie so you can tell people it's bad, but... Yeah, so do you have anything else to add on Thor, Ragnarok, and this hair?
You know, like I said, Wonder Woman could be the best movie I've ever seen. This one could be the worst movie I've ever seen.
I think this has a good chance, at least, of being the worst comic book film of the year.
Oh,
you know,
this year, let's say the last 5.
I can't argue with them there, so... Next segment, Flashpoints. This is going to be a quick rundown of all the news because those GeekVerse bastards gave us a time limit, unfortunately, for our pilot. They said, I wasn't going to be this long, but they gave us a time limit. So we're going to go over just 4 quickly news stories that have been popping off this past few months. I'm going to say a story to Bruce, and he's going to give me 5 words. 5 words to describe how he's feeling.
Or less. You know, sometimes they don't deserve the full 5 words.
We're not like Marvel movies that feel, we got to be this long just to, like, you know, make people feel like they earn their money. Make an actual good movie. You know, there's some good Marvel movies, but the majority, they're way too long, right? Way too long. So, he's going to give 5 words of expression. I'm going to give 5 words of expression. What are you feeling about this first story? Iron Fist will not be wearing this costume at all for the first season of Iron Fist.
Amazing.
Very messy, lame ass shit. DC wants to make a rated R movie.
Following in Marvel's footsteps.
It'll be better than Deadpool. Batman's script is being rewritten from the ground up.
Classic DC.
Fake news. New Batmobile has lots of guns. Kill more people.
I agree. That's 5.
Third and final story today. We're going to tell you why to stop being a Joker. Now, we all saw, well, I would hope, we all saw Logan, at least in the GeekVerse. I thought it was a good movie, you know? I thought it was...
It had its moments.
I think it had its moments. It was still overall a good movie. I was happy to sit there. I paid my ticket. But this is the thing. People were walking out and talking about, it's maybe the best comic book film or the second best. You know, I think it's maybe up there in like the top 50, but second or first, we had 2 candidates this year already of being second or first with Suicide Squad, or sorry, last year was Suicide Squad and BVS.
Yeah.
So I think people can like this movie. One of the best ever. So your
Well,
role
even
and shut your mouth.
look at the GeekVerse, right? 2 of those people gave it a 10 out of 10. That means that movie is either perfect or flawless. What a joke. No. And then some idiot gave it like 9.8 or something. Like, who the hell gives a movie that?
Can't even make up his mind.
Like, that indecisive? Like, are you serious? So, I think there was one reasonable person on there who gave it a 7. So
seems about right.
That seems like I would give it, like, that might even be a little bit too generous, in my opinion. Like, I think it's more in the 6.5, 6.8 kind of range.
I could agree. I want to watch it again, but I'm definitely leaning there towards that rank. And that's why today we want to spread the word and tell you why you got to really think this through before you start tweeting stuff like that. You tweet something out like that, like Logan's one of the best superhero movies, that stays with you. When you go to a job interview, they're going to pick up and say, do you really believe that? Of course. And, you know,
when you don't have any good reason, you know, you're not going to get the job. I'll tell you that much. I've had that from experience.
So our closing segment is we're going to tell you the top reasons why Logan is overrated, why it's not the greatest comic book of all time, why it's overrated. Mr. Musk, you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. So,
Mr. Cruz, you want to start?
You know, I would like to start. So, my biggest flaw with this movie is to do with the villain. And by, you know, first of all, this movie had way too many villains. Impossible to keep track of where they all are.
Now, if you have not seen Logan, you may want to tune out because I think we're going to get some spoilers.
I will spoil the movie. I mean...
So if you haven't seen it, tune out. Hopefully GeekVerse doesn't cancel us. We get a second episode. But until then, you should still stick around, you know, because it's... Come on.
We're trying our best.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's first step. Anyway, so let's talk about the villain. So I'm talking about the big bad guy. Who is the surprise villain? And guess who it is? It's the main character of the movie. Yeah. It's the same guy. I've seen this guy before. For 17 years, he's played this character. And they're like, we need a villain here. How about we just... use the same guy? I wonder, maybe it was a, you know, issue with they didn't have enough money to get someone else in there.
That's a good point.
So they could be doing that as a way to save money. Who knows? But it's just so lazy. I mean,
that's the key.
This guy's been in this movie the whole time, and you just bring the same guy in. I've seen him before a million times. He has the exact same powers, super lame fights. I was incredibly disappointed. I honestly, at that point, like, I did think it was a good movie, but I almost walked out. I almost walked out when they revealed that. Well,
and even to that sense as well, like, you said lazy, and I would agree, lazy, lame, very cheesy, because we're gonna make the main character get killed by himself. Like, gee, just hit us over the head with symbolism. Like, we get what you're going for.
It's almost like they're making fun of how stupid we are. Like, they're questioning our intelligence by making that decision. You know, it's disgusting.
I have to agree. That's a good reason for why Logan's overrated. Lots of people said Sabretooth should have been there. His brother, I completely agree. They missed the ball big time. My first point is lots of controversy right now with X-23 and that actress. Lots of people chirping and saying stuff that I think is true. And the fact of her not being 11 years old really brought it down for me. You know, her being... above 11, being in that 12, 13 range, I think it really hindered the movie. You could tell. Every time I was like, she's too old for this. She's not young enough to be a kid. This, like...
Have the writers even read any of the comics?
I don't think so.
Do they even know the source material they're drawing from?
No, I don't think so.
I don't even think they know who the character of X-23 really is.
Exactly.
She's such a great character in the comics. But they just totally butchered that in the movie simply because of the age.
Yeah, I think the age had a lot to do with it. I don't blame the actress, you know. She's trying to make money. She's getting cash to start in her career. But the studio should know better. The directors, the writers should know better. Because you might be thinking, what is the big deal about someone not being 11 and being 12 or 13? Height? Reading ability.
She
math ability.
People think, she didn't talk that much in the movie. maybe she's not old enough to read. Maybe she can't read the script. How do you expect an 11-year-old or 12, 13, who even really knows? How are you expecting her to be able to do such a thing?
Well, and I bet she had lines because 13 and 12 is a notorious age for just childs in general being shy. And 11, they're much more energetic.
And you can see that over the course of the movie. You know, she eventually got more comfortable with the cast. She started to talk more. But you have to wonder what lines did they give her at the start of this movie that we just never got to see.
And you have to wonder,
that character could have actually had some depth to it.
And you have to wonder at the age of 11 if she could have picked that up a lot sooner, you know? So
yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with her age, kept taking me out of the movie every time. I was like, she's too old. You know, it's kind of like in rom-coms when you see that young actress dating like this guy who's in his 50s, you're like, this isn't believable.
Yeah.
I don't get this. That's why I went through the whole movie. She did a good job, her performance as good as she could do, but for age, holding her back.
And, you know, I think we should just stress it again. It's not her fault.
No, it's not her fault.
It is the studio's fault.
All the studio's fault. All studio's fault.
I have another one here. You ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So, my other big problem with this movie is, and this one's a mega spoiler, so if you've managed to stay in here to this point, now might be the time you want to peace out. But
we don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, so, as the spoiler, here we go. Wolverine, Logan, he dies in this movie. You know who else dies? Professor X.
Yeah.
How disappointing is that? You know, I love these guys. I've seen them on screen for so long. They have great chemistry. They've kind of been the backbone of X-Men. And in this movie, they kill them both off. And who do they keep alive? X-23, you know, as we just talked about, she did good, but it's her first movie. You know, you can only care so much. You know, these guys have been around for longer than she's been alive. And, you know, why would you kill them off, you know? And it was such, as I talked about, you know, they had to fight the clone, so it wasn't even like a satisfying death, you know. I was super disappointed.
Clone kills them both. Lazy again.
Very lazy.
My thing is with its, you know, I find it a little predictable. Both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman said this is going to be our last time. So it's like we knew going in that's going to be our last time. So I was like, I
was thinking they were going to, you know,
do something creative.
Yeah. Sure, maybe they'd go to the moon and you'd never see them again.
Yeah, like them just saying, it's our last time. I would feel like the obvious answer is, they're going to kill them off. So it's like, I was going in that theater like, I'm so excited to see what do they actually do. How do they twist this?
I was thinking that maybe Logan would leave and just become a lumberjack or something, and that would be his future. And I think that is a great way to close out a character who has been doing that role for so long. You know, show them as a hardworking individual who, you know, just wants to live in some isolation or something.
I would have been happy with that. I would have been happy if it just focused on him sitting somewhere. Like at the end, he's done a few things. Maybe he's sitting there, and then it just goes black, and we just don't know what happened to him. You know?
Yeah.
Or if
sometimes it's good to leave the imagination.
Or if we got like a little realistic version of like maybe he went to jail and he got Wolverine tattooed on his head.
That would be pretty cool. And then some adamantium grills. That would be badass.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that's nice. So you have another one, I believe.
My point is the language. Now I get it. People have been wanting to see a radar Wolverine. I like the action scenes in this movie. Lots of violence, lots of blood and gore. I love blood and gore. I love it. It's so good.
It's great, dude. Yeah.
But the thing was, and I agree, the language, you know, they should take advantage of the rated R-ness because you got that rating. But the thing is, I felt like they're just beating us over the head with it, you know?
They're just like, hey, check us out. And they just started showing off. Anyone can do that.
They're like that kid in middle school who just learned swear words. And like, oh, fuck, oh, shit. And they think they're so cool, you know?
Yeah.
But he's not. Like, the first word in the movie he says is fuck. And it's just like, it just felt like he was showing it off. And then also, I feel like it breaks the character because in the past X-Men movies,
I didn't think about this.
Wolverine would say fuck at least once, which is fine. I could have seen him saying it a bit, maybe 2 or 3 more times when he was older. But in this movie, he probably says it over 50,000 times. You know, 50,000.
50 to 75,000.
That's lowballing it, too.
That's lowball, yeah.
And I just thought, and even with Professor X, they had him say it a few times.
Oh,
and
what is that?
Everyone's like, oh, well, he's in a bad state of mind. His life's really tough and blah, blah. Don't matter. He should have had the wherewithal to stay as that man he was earlier in the series, but he's just dropping F-bombs. And I found it very offensive, actually.
I did too, because I brought, as you know, we went to see the movie together. I brought my nephew, and he's only 4 years old.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, seen his fair share of blood and guts and things like that, and he's okay with that. But when they started, you know, throwing up this really just utterly gross language, I had to cover his ears, and, you know, that's not what you want when you go to a movie theater. And then you have to wonder, too, maybe the character of X-23, maybe her script was just filled with swear words. And if you get a 12 or 13-year-old in there, they're not going to want to. 11-year-old, they'll just go buck wild with it.
Yeah.
But, when they get older, they start to realize it becomes an issue.
Well, then I'll give her some credit for taking a choice and saying, no, I'm not going to say these dirty potty words.
True.
Because, like, she's representing a new generation out there. They shouldn't be swearing. I'm all good for a good old swear word here and there, but, tone it down a bit. Like, we get it. You're all adults. We're there watching the movie. The action scenes were enough, but I think the language was just...
decapitation, blood and gore, we've all seen it.
Mm-hmm,
Swear words,
easy.
you got to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm. We show your nephew that all the time. I show my nephew like 2 or 3. I'm popping on Friday the 13th. They're loving it, Like, the sex scenes are great, but the vibe, when they swear, that's when I get them to cover their ears. Like, oh, you don't want to hear this.
This is the one thing I'll give GeekVerse credit for. They have some of their things listed as explicit, but they keep it pretty tame.
It's very light, that's why even though we have very big differences opinions on them, we can still hopefully be their
My nephew
business
can
partners.
listen to GeekVerse, but will I ever let him listen to Logan again? Probably not.
No,
Probably
not at all. And we like to listen to movies a lot, not even watch them.
No.
We like to just put them on in the background and turn the movie off, but have the soundbar on and just listen to them. It's an enthralling experience.
If you haven't tried it, you should.
You should do it with BVS.
Take your favorite movie, watch it, and by watch it, I mean just listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just try it. Just try it.
BVS is a big example. The score,
it's great.
The sounds of Batman shooting
lots
everyone.
of loud noises, and you can't really tell what's going on, but that chaotic kind of builds to the story overall.
Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the pilot episode for Hunka Hunka. How did you feel it went, Mr. Cruz?
I don't want to brag, but I think this might be better than any GeekVerse episode that's out there. Those guys, they've only been doing it for a year and a half, so you can't blame them too much, but it's kind of a shit show sometimes, whereas this was very organized. I thought we were very, very funny.
Great points.
Very good points. Some of the most intellectual commentary you can have when it comes to the geek world. So, how would you think?
I agree. I think it's the best episode on this podcast feed, the YouTube channel. Much credit to them, but they're rookies.
They've got a lot of growing to do.
We've been doing this in our basements for the past 10 years, talking about movies. We've been online.
We just recently got internet, so that's why we started. This is uploaded.
We used to go to our local library and go on our Twitter accounts and get out there and tell people why they're wrong, but now we have an actual platform and a reasoning, because
people don't take you seriously if you're just an egg on Twitter.
Yeah, and what the thing is, I like the egg. That's what people say. Oh, you can't be an egg.
The egg.
It's majestic. It's majestic, That's
it's
why
something special. The egg has infinitive potential.
That's why I really want Zack Snyder or Ben Affleck or whoever's doing the Batman movie, which they'll find a way, don't worry. Whoever's doing that I really want to see the villain Egghead in the future,
Yes.
Think about the cross-promotion with Twitter.
And there's so much potential for later movies because there's blue background egg, there's red background egg.
So many posters.
So many ideas.
Egghead returns.
The possibilities are endless. Eggman returns, yes.
Egghead forever.
I mean, Sonic got it right. They have Eggman in there, don't they? Yeah, that's a great series. My favorite series.
I've been looking for Egghead 66, that's where he debuted.
Yes. Can't wait.
So this was the first episode. This was a pilot. Please like and share this so we can show GeekVerse the rating and say, hey, you need to keep us on the air. Because even if they try to hold us down, maybe we'll go to the library. But, security's they're kind of jerks there.
They kicked us out a couple years ago, so we have to go in with costumes.
And
it's very convoluted.
It's really tough to sneak in. They don't like that we're talking at this rate. I think this is a quiet voice. I know people are studying, but whatever, that's why people should be listening to superhero movies. If you listen to that and study, nothing's that loud,
No,
so it's that's people's mistake, So we want to be here in the dynamic duo set, so thank you very much for tuning in. So, for myself, I'm Michael Snell II.
Bruce Cruz.
We're signing off. We'll be back next month.
We will.
Send a hunka hunka to you and yours.